Okay, James Cole, can you hear us?
Aye, yes.
Great. Okay, do you want to kick us off? Sorry for the delay.
Not at all. Alan, what sort of response are you expecting from South Africa, having inflicted defeat on them in that first test?
Well, I think a lot's been said about how they're going to improve and off our performance and obviously the loss. I said in the immediate post-match press I did on the field that we are expecting the game and the intensity to go up a notch across the board. But I think from our point of view, we look at that first half and see how we put ourselves under pressure and where we can improve our game. Probably not just in that first half, but the whole 80 as well. So we do feel we've got a couple of gears to go up also, and that's been a large part of our focus this week.
How is Dan Biggar? How likely that he will start?
I wasn't aware he was carrying anything, but I think as I can see, he's trained fully, and I'm not part of the medical team, so I can't really be give you any committed answer on that.
He's a big part of what you want to do, isn't he? That's a big boost if he comes through those return to play protocols, obviously.
Yeah, very much so. I think the squad as a whole is important, perhaps the team and all the individuals with that.
Has he been able to train much this week then, Dan?
As I already said, yes.
And can I ask you, what have you made of Rassie Erasmus taking to social media? He's questioned the officiating in the first test. He's posted an hour-long video now.
To be honest, I'm not long back from training. I've heard a little bit about it, but I haven't seen anything. As I'm sure you're aware, I've got a bit more to focus on that'll be between the white lines, and that's been my focus.
He's outlined 26 examples, he says, of poor officiating in that first test. Do you think he's trying to put pressure on the officials this weekend?
I don't know. I think that's a question you'll have to ask him.
Do you think it will put pressure on the officials?
I don't know. I think that's a question you have to ask the officials.
Do you think it's right that a coach should question the officiating? Is it good for the game?
I think it highlights the passion and the commitment that people have to the sport. Right or wrong on how it's the method is, it's not for me to comment on. Ultimately the sport is in a good place, and hopefully it can go forward in a good place as well.
From your point of view, does it mean you need to be even more careful this weekend with more scrutiny on you guys?
Well, I think we gave away. I think the penalty count was against us in that first half. So we probably had more than our fair share of penalties against. Our discipline needs to improve in that first half, like I've alluded to already. And it's always an aim and a focus point to keep penalties low. So I don't really think it changes our approach in many ways.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Do you think we'll see much of a difference from the first test to the second test from either team in terms of approach?
Without giving too much away, I said again in the post-match, I said we'd probably continue in a similar vein. We probably didn't execute as well as we'd like in that first half. You could look at South Africa; they've gone with a 6-2 split. It's probably more to what we're used to in the way they select their squad. But I'm sure there'll be an increased emphasis on probably set piece from them and trying to get more set pieces. And like I say, on our part, it's probably execution and game management early on in the game.
You mentioned that 6-2 split. What does that mean in real terms for you guys in terms of how you approach it? What does that give them different that they didn't have last week?
Well, as I said, that's that conscious point that they're going to go probably more set piece. They'll have more forwards in simple terms to come on and try and put authority in that area of the game. But like I say, it's what we've seen, or the teams that have faced South Africa have seen through the World Cup and before.
The last Lions team to go 2-0 up in a series were the 1997 side who were in South Africa. I mean, it goes to show it's a real difficult thing to do, isn't it?
Very much so. It's 24 years ago, and it's very dangerous in anything to look too far back. And my focus and our focus is obviously Saturday.
How important is the feedback that you get from the officials from game to game regarding tweaks that need to be made for the next match?
Well, whatever competition you go into, domestic, international, whatever campaign, Six Nations, autumn campaigns, World Cups, there's always tweaks to the rules and you're always given heads up on focus points. Ultimately, from a playing point of view, you need to get on with your job. It's very easy to get stifled by those directives, and you're given key points that they look at, and you try and stay within the realms of the perceptions that those or you're given by those officials. This is pretty simple, really.
Thank you, Alun Wyn.
Alun Wyn, hi. Rez Erasmus suggested there in his video that you and the Lions were given more respect by the officials compared to Siya Kolisi and the South Africans. What would you say to that?
Again, it's probably a question for the officials. So I don't really, in the heat of the moment, I didn't really have any, felt we had any advantage because a lot of the times I was standing there next to Siya when we were speaking to the refs, etc. So, that's an outside perception I probably can't really comment on.
And if we talk sort of more generally, looking back over the course of your long international career, do you think there is more chat and scrutiny and debate around officials today than there ever has been? And if so, why do you think that's the case?
No, I don't think so. I just think the game's changing. I think it does get difficult for players the way the speed of the game's going. The ball in play. And I think sometimes the refs are the hardest job in the game, being in the middle of all that. They obviously have assistants and you have a TMO. And I think more than ever, decisions are being focused on. But it's always been the way. I think they've always been scrutinised. I just think it's probably in vogue at the minute. And obviously, it's been highlighted by some this past week.
Thank you.
Louise?
Hi, Alun. I'm Luis Queza from Scrum ESPN Argentina. In the first test, we saw a very tough battle in the forwards. Which do you think will be the keys in the second test?
Again,
the keys match, yes.
It's going to be more of the same. I think the set piece, as I've said, you can see by the South African selection, the 6-2 on the bench, that they're probably going to have a bit more emphasis, trying to get more set piece. We've got elements of game management in line with the set piece, and we had a couple of comms errors that we need to sort out early on in the game. So it's still going to, I think, feature heavily in the next test.
And the last one, what changed the Lions pack to play with Conor Murray as a scrum half?
What change? As in?
Yeah, for you, for the Lions pack forwards.
Well, I'd like, we've got enough players here to make a difference or add to the pack. I think Gats has said how close it's been on selection. They felt to go with Conor. I think it's more responsibility on the forwards to give Conor the platform to play and create that connection with the back line rather than solely the forwards. So it's down to us to give him a platform to play off rather than him taking it upon his shoulders for us.
Thank you very much.
Hi, Alun Wyn. Can I just ask you what lessons you can take from 2013 when you won the first test and then weren't able to back it up in that second test? What do you think went wrong that week, and what can you take from that into this?
To be honest with you, it's a long time ago now, and if I said I could remember, I'd be lying. So ultimately, and I've said it a few times, and I don't really care for looking too far back, and I'm not afraid to say what I've already said, but the focus is this week. There's a lot of different bodies We're in a different country, you know, and already had a tough test. So the focus is the next one. I don't think comparisons can be made. I think it's a dangerous place to be.
Hi, Alun Wyn, Jerry here in Dublin. Just wondering, what area do you think the lines might be better next Saturday? Where can be better? What areas?
Well, obviously, early on, you know, we were disappointed with the way we started scrum time. Probably felt we were under pressure. You know, that set piece came through, and I've already said about a couple of comms errors. I think our management improved drastically in the second half. You know, we did well, obviously, to turn the scoreboard round, and we just want to make sure that we don't give ourselves too much of a deficit with that in that early area of the game.
Cheers, thanks.
Thanks very much, everyone. Thank you, Alun Wyn. Thanks, Alun.